ये सब दोगलापन है.
"2022, a new year on the channel, but the content keeps on getting cringier. You expected there to be something new, something fresh, not the same old regressive BS that reminds us that we have a long way to go. Nope. We over here will keep on reflecting and getting better and hoping that one day we can eventually be proud of what we call commercial cinema as progressive in this country. Just on a side note, I hate the argument that the mass films target a particular demographic and therefore they have to showcase sequences that can be termed as problematic. अगर तुम मुझे पूरी जिंदगी कटहल खिलाते रहोगे, इसका ये मतलब नहीं है कि तुम मुझे चिकन कभी ना खिलाओ. समझ रहे हो? Through this video, we're going to be talking about some of the most jarring and unintentionally hilarious scenes in Indian cinema that no one seemed to bat an eyelid about when they happened, but when in retrospect you look at some of these acts with a more aware and responsible mindset, you are left with your jaw dropped on how you didn't catch on its tonality in the first place. Getting right into this month's episode, here is Tried and Refused Productions with 5 shocking Indian movie scenes that will leave you speechless. Kitha Kithalu. A specific body type over the years in films has become the norm of what audiences expect from a theatre experience and the actors that are cast. Anyone who breaks the stereotype of being conventionally good looking and in shape is deemed fit only to play caricatures that are mostly made fun of. While there have been many talented actors over the years that have been subjected to pure ridicule for their physical appearance in films, one of the films that takes the cake of being absolutely offensive is the 2006 film Kitha Kithalu. The film is based on an aspiring police officer who showcases himself to be pure and noble only because he stopped the advances of a woman owing to wanting to wait till marriage. To make matters worse, the reason why he is rejected by most women is because they assume he isn't man enough as he stopped a woman trying to make a pass at him. The generational notion of men always wanting sex and rejecting it, alluding to them being sexually incapable, still persists today because in most cases, at least in popular cinema, the concept of consent with men is barely talked about. Rather than addressing this issue, the film takes the route of making the hero marry a heavy-set, affluent woman as his parents threaten to commit suicide otherwise. What follows is a film that makes the obese woman the butt of the jokes, whether it be the man getting unconscious at the very sight of the woman, sitting on the mandap only for this to happen, or jump in the pool with her own husband, leading to this impact. The connotation of a heavy-set woman continued to be the butt of jokes in popular cinema. Tanu Weds Manu returns. You know, when I think about some of the films that really messed me up with their endings, several films come to my mind. The horrible stretch sequence of Cancer with Ae Dil Hai Mushkil, or the unintentionally hilarious meeting in heaven in Delhi 6, only for Abhishek Bachchan to resurrect himself from the dead. It all accounted for WTF moments. A film, however, that I enjoyed until its last half an hour has to be Tanu Weds Manu Returns. I absolutely fell in love with this movie with the character of Datto played with such ease by Kangana Ranaut. She was earnest and so sincere, making me think that finally Manu, played by R. Madhavan, can get a happy ending with someone who truly cares about him and isn't as erratic and selfish as Tanu. Tanu goes from admitting her own husband in a mental asylum, being shocked that he has moved on and has agreed to separate, creates a scene where she absolutely ridicules Datto in public, calling her a joker and a gawar, only to get drunk on a random night dressed up as Datto, wanting him back. I don't know what happened with Manu, but the man who constantly follows Datto and fawns over her on the wedding day tells Datto that he still loves Tanu. What we get in the end is Datto, the pure soul, is left at the altar. I just think the ending was totally left field and rather abrupt on how just an emotional breakdown leads to Manu to be with a woman who never really appreciates him. The ending just made me feel that Datto just deserved a better happily ever after. Badal. There is nothing funnier than seeing Bobby Deol in an intense and angry role from the late 90s to the early 2000s. In a movie Badal that released in 2000, Bobby Deol tries to channelize his inner rage and muster up some kind of performance. The cringe really sets in when the romance between Bobby and Rani initiates. Being just another trope of romantic advances being rejected, this unintentionally hilarious scene pans out something like this. The girl speeds and drives rashly until the boy confesses to loving her.
बोलो कि तुम मुझसे प्यार करते हो। नहीं बोलोगे ना? तुम जानते नहीं मुझे। मैं अपनी जान पे खेल जाऊंगी।
Almost making them both casualties of a car wreck, the car is finally stopped. The hilarious dialogues that follow will cause anyone to have an aneurysm.
चल जाओगी,
जला दो मुझे
पागल हो,
तुम्हारे प्यार में
टूट जाओगी.
मंजूर है.
With fair warning as Bobby tries to leave, only for her good, Rani deems it fit to attempt to commit suicide because a life without Lord Bobby is unimaginable. Both set on different paths, one away from Rani and the other jumping over a cliff, only for this to happen.
I love you!
Kanmadam, a very popular Malayalam movie that I was shocked to see a sequence about, is the 1998 film titled Kanmadam starring Mohanlal and Manju Warrier. The context of Malayalam cinema being progressive and inclusive of marginalized sections of society in this day and age is noteworthy and accurate. But this was actually not the case a few decades ago. Approaching women has always had hints of harassment and stalking in Indian films, but even when the creators take the decision of showcasing female characters as strong, opinionated, and extremely clear of their boundaries, they often succumb to the advances of the hero. See this scene for example, with the characters of Vishwanathan and Bhanu. The man stops the way of the woman to tell her that he has a secret to share. She draws a knife in front of his face as she wants nothing to do with him, but he carries on persisting, only to distract her, pull her towards him and kiss her. The woman breaks down at such an exchange, only for the hero to tell her that this was the secret he wanted to share with her, and that irrespective of her nature and fate, he accepts her. The idea that a girl always wanted this still does not mean you should take your shot forcibly. The movie only justifies such aggressive advances because inherently the woman was seeking for such companionship. This still should not justify one crossing the line because he or she assumes they always wanted it. It sets an absolutely sick precedent for any relationship. Cocktail. One of the most popular films in commercial cinema in 2012 was the romantic comedy titled Cocktail. The thing that struck out the most for me about this film was the popularity of Veronica, played by Deepika Padukone. Many female viewers resonated with the character because they finally saw a woman who didn't care about other people's opinion with respect to her way of life and was just a free spirit. But this movie eventually progressed into becoming a problematic mess with the notion of what women should be in order to be happy in life, especially from a writing POV. It, through the male hero, makes a clear distinction between what makes a woman only suitable for a casual relationship versus what constitutes a woman who is perfect for marriage. Veronica is not marriage material in the eyes of Gotham simply because of the free spirit she has, as it doesn't fit the stereotype of what a perfect bahu should be. But the straight-edged Meera, who is the cookie-cutter sanskari woman, becomes the perfect candidate for the bahu. To make matters worse, Veronica succumbs to altering her own appearance to seem as if she can don the role of what constitutes as the perfect bahu by getting into traditional Indian wear, a sequence that still makes me cringe.
In short, अगर मैं मीरा जैसी बन जाऊँ, तो you think माँ मुझे accept करेगी?
Pitting both the women against one another while the man picks and chooses as his whims and fancies please made this film really a tough watch for me. What were your thoughts regarding this film that was celebrated so much but in my opinion transitioned to accentuate the gender stereotypes that have been propagated for several years? And that was the video, guys. Write down in the comments below what you think about movies and whether you have some suggestions as well. Please don't forget to follow me on Instagram, the handle's right in front of you. Follow me at JammyPants4. Also please support us by smashing the like button and subscribing to our channel for weekly content ahead. Thank you for watching.